Okay, I'm going to try to pick up at the do now. So it'll say like in bold again, activity number 3, the do now. And then maybe something that says something like each times table has 4 do now activities. Um, each do now contains a title, uh, like do now 5-1, and 5 stages. These 5 stages help students to practice the facts for a specific times table. Here is an example of a do now activity. And then leave gap, and we'll cut and paste one that looks like this, like it's the typed one straight from the book. And then a little bit below that, it'll say each student will complete uh, the do now either on loose leaf or in their notebook. Um, Notice that the student writes the title and then lists the directions for each stage with the answer only. Here's an example. And then I'm gonna write one out on loose leaf at some point, and then we'll scan it and then put it in right below. So basically it'll be like a little bit of directions, then the real one, then a little bit more words, and then a copy of like a scanned one of one that is like handwritten. I'll write it like it was a kid. Okay. The next one is activity 4, the discovery test. Every times table has 4 tests. These tests arrange the problems in different order so that the teacher each test puts them in different order. There are always 10 problems. These can be given orally, or the teacher can choose to pass them out. Either way, the students are going, for ease, man, I don't know how to word this, dude. But basically, they could take a piece of loose leaf and fold it in half. So maybe it would start with students, for the discovery test, students fold a piece of loose leaf in half, forming 4 sections. There are 4 tests. Um, they're numbered 1 to 10. Teacher can either do the test orally, or the teacher can choose to pass it out and then have the children write on the loose leaf the corresponding answer. Sorry, man. Next activity, what is it, 5, is the snakester activity. As it states in the directions on the snakester game, a student needs to start at the top and snake, in quotes, to the bottom. They can move vertically or horizontally, in other words, up or down, but not diagonally. Um, they will use the times table to go up the factors and then back down. I don't know how to say that. Um, Maybe we'll just put the example and say, for example, for the 5 times table, the pattern will be 5, 10, all the way up to 50, and then back down to 5. And then there's a game there. And then I don't know if maybe what I'll do later is make one where first the kid, like, I'm going to draw on one and go down, and then it'll get stuck. And then I will say, notice that the student started at the top row with a 5 and began a pattern, but could not continue. And then I'll put another one where it shows it all completed, and then I'll say, notice in this example, the student has successfully found their way from the top to the bottom following the exact pattern required. Something like that. The next one, activity number whatever, matchsters, the matchsters, I guess, and then it'll say each times table has 4 different matchsters. Matchsters are used to help kids practice their facts. Um, it can be put in a sheet protector or a communicator and use dry erase marker, or the teacher can choose to have the student write right on it. Basically, you connect the question box to the answer box. In order to make it easy for teachers to check visually, there are no examples where the question box at the top goes all the way to an answer box. Or, I don't know how to say this, but I'll say it to you. Like I never do total top to total bottom. I always do like three or four interconnected, then three or four interconnected. That way the teacher can visually walk up and right away they can tell, pretty quickly they can identify whether it looks correct or not. The next activity, activity number whatever, is the Faxter game. Again, this might be one that needs a couple pictures. So like we could start and say, fact, each times table has a Faxter game. They all are in the same format as the one below. This example is the 5 times table, and then we'll say to start the game, player 1 puts a chip or coin on any one of the 10 circles. For example, if they put it on a 4, and then I'll put a picture with one covering a 4, and then it'll say next the student writes in the fact box 4 times, next to player 1 puts a 4. So then it says 4 times 5 equals 20, and they write 20. At this point, the student can pick one, and then you have to be in capital letters, O-N-E, one of the 20s on the game board. Player 1 will mark it with an X, and will remain X's, and player 2 will remain O. Next, player 2 will take the chip and move it to any one of this, also move it to any one of the circles. For example, if player 2 puts it on the 7, player 2 would go to the fact box, mark 7 before the times 5, and put a 35. And then player 2 can pick any one of the 35s on the board. Again, there are more than one, but the player can only choose one of them. Players continue in this manner, taking turns, each one putting a chip on a number, marking their fact box, and then putting an X or an O until one of the players gets 4 in a row. Note, free spaces do not belong to either player. They can be used by either player. I don't know how to say that. Basically, you never put an O or X on the free space, but either player can use it to be one of their 4 in a row. So and then we'll mark it, like we'll put another example of paper with 3 of them, and then the 4th one is the free space. So we can say here the player has gotten 4 in a row, something like that. And how am I doing on time? Looks like I'll make it. Okay, the last activity, or the ninth whatever activity number it is the Seekster. In a Seekster, the students again are going to be practicing their facts again, using the example of the 5 times table. Students will look for all of the multiples of 5 from 5 up to FIVE up to FIFTY, 50. They will color in the boxes or mark off the boxes that have them. When completed, the student goes back and starts in the upper left-hand corner, and using only the letters of the boxes that have not been used will form a question, and that question can be answered at the bottom of the activity. And I'll make another one for you where it's all colored in, and then this one, I forget what this one says. Do you know which of the that America has 50 states, something like that. And then I'll have the answer for it. Okay. Dude, I know this is so bad, but again, if you could just get something down on paper, I'll be able to edit it very quickly, I think. So let me stop here.